Campus Hustlers with Fatima Zakaria.
How does one person excel in multiple fields? Well, I can't answer that question myself. But then, you're about to discover how in this episode. Hi, welcome to yet another interesting episode of Campus Hustlers, your weekly dose of entrepreneurial spirit unfiltered. I'm your host, Fatima Zakaria. I'm an entrepreneur, a corporate event anchor, a voiceover artist, and of course, I am a podcaster. Joining me on today's podcast is Muhammad Abdullateef, a 400-level mathematics student at the Air Force Institute of Technology, AFIT, Kaduna State, Nigeria. Muhammad is a co-founder of 360 School, a startup company focusing on education technology. Muhammad is renowned for his polymathic pursuit and dedication to lifelong learning. With over 3 years of experience as a virtual assistant and social media manager, his expertise encompasses a broad spectrum of technical and non-technical skills, including computer programming, cybersecurity, search engine optimization, that is SEO, and machine learning. Interestingly, Muhammad is also an author and has currently written 5 books, with one of it already published. He has also written over 80 articles on different fields, especially history. Some of his writings are also in Arabic. Hi Muhammad, how are you today?
Thank you, I'm fine.
It's good to have you on my podcast.
You're welcome.
Alright, so what motivated you to co-found 360 School? Let's start that way.
Okay, well, actually the answer is just simple and it's not very far. So for a larger part of my life, I already have a plan not to be a collector, but to be a giver, so to be a kind of service for humanity. And also one of the ways I feel I can do that was through my passion. So through my passion for technology has deeply impacted in me having deep interest in both technological field and also education, as this is also one of my core aspects. So though directly or indirectly, I found myself in this situation, and I thank God who has granted me such opportunity at this particular stage of my life.
Wow, interesting. So can you tell us more about what you do at 360 School?
360 School is a all-in-one solution, a very comprehensive solution, as seen from the name itself, 360. So when you talk about something is 360, you know something is all around that, something is self without any doubt. So it's a all-in-one school management system which all assets, all categories of school, either a small, big, secondary, primary, or even universities or larger institutions can make use to streamline their administrative tasks, issue tasks, scheduling, managing reports, and also for all activities in general. So this is briefly what 360 School is all about.
Interesting. I love the fact that your answers are brief and straightforward. Alright, can you share your journey from mathematics to polymath?
Okay, so briefly, I would like to correct that my journey was from polymath to mathematics. So, for a while I was in secondary school or so I have a lot of interest. So, I found that I'm someone who likes to math and someone who is interested in a lot of fields.
Okay.
So, the way my journey moved was from polymath to mathematics. So, even though mathematics was my line in terms of academics, I have a larger spectrum of fields and basis for other fields where I did my career.
I get that, Muhammad. Okay, how did you develop expertise in virtual assistance and social media management?
Okay, so when I left secondary school about 4 years ago, so one of my particular, one of those particular in me was always the zeal and the grit. So while searching and looking for what I can do, just that same year before entering university, so among the earlier courses I saw then was virtual assistant, so which was the course from ALX. That was the year 2021. So I decided to take the course for just a 8-week course. So after taking the course, I found out that I have deeper interest into it. So as the line goes, I continue to develop myself, learning one or two things, which I found out that later led my path into virtual assistance and social media management.
Interesting. So what inspired your book publications? You're a polymath, correct? But then I was just wondering, how did you become an author?
So there's a kind of saying, when you say talent meets interest or interest meets talent, so and it's better something great. So that just makes it. Well, I'm actually a talented writer. That's part of it. I like to read a lot. So by reading, it attends my writing, and by writing, it assisted me into putting those things I've learned, those experiences, those things I've read into writing. So The writing or authoring something is just a kind of side talent which I think I should develop on. So my first book was published while I was in SS3 secondary school.
Do you remember the name of your first book?
Yes.
What is the name of your first book?
Understanding Hypocrisy.
Interesting. Can you share what it's all about?
So first of all, Understanding Hypocrisy, it is a book centered on Islamic knowledge. So it is actually an Islamic book. So from the book, one of those things I would like to talk about is that when you are talking about hypocrisy, it is a such a vice that has gotten deep into the moral fabric of the society. So this has led the world into a kind of recurring social disease. It has swept mankind to the very edge of hell and has made him lost his faith. So hypocrisy has also made people appear such as an angel and at the same time as a devil. So basically this book covers aspects ranging from the broad explanation of what hypocrisy is, the way it manifests, its concepts, its signs, its illustrations, the cures for it, and how to prevent it. So this is basically everything about the book Understanding Hypocrisy.
Wow, interesting. Because I'm just wondering, like, how somebody in SSG will write such a book. It's kind of amazing. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, so how do you try to strike a balance between your academic and running a business or ventures?
So basically, all this boils down to proper planning and proper management. So no matter how busy you can be, you will always have a free time. So this is just it. So I'm always busy. It's not always an excuse. There is always an outer of freedom in anything I do. So first of all this boils down to proper planning and proper management. Secondly, it lies in the power of the night. So there is a kind of secret and unfathomable secret in the night, which only few people know about it. When you look at the history of great men, you find out that most of them they utilize this power. So which is one of those things people do not know. So if you want to achieve great in life, you don't expect to do or work in the normal way people are doing. So when everybody is sleeping for 10 hours, you know you should not sleep up to 10 hours since you have something better to achieve. So basically, number one, proper planning and power management is very key. How do you plan your activities? Really a smart plan. So when I'm talking about plan, not planning of something that just an idea that just comes to your head and just think of it, but planning in the next 30 minutes, what are you going to do next? In the next 1 hour, what are you going to do next? That's the first thing. And secondly, the power of the midnight or the power of the night is very important. Only few people know about this power. So this is basically the two things I like in achieving my goals and targets.
Interesting. If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask, what are some of the challenges you have faced so far?
Okay, so well, there is always challenge in life. A life without challenge is a wasted one. So that's just it. Because if you think you do not have a challenge in life, then you have to question yourself. It means you are not doing anything extra, or it means you are just wasting your life. So that's just it. So if I'm talking about challenges, majorly the challenge I will say or talk about is just about the issue of managing things and activities together. So as I've said, for someone to be able to achieve great things, you have to have great plans also. And to achieve those great plans, you have to face great challenges. So among the challenges I do face, majorly might be challenge of probably having to meet deadlines or probably maybe to deliver something at a particular time. So this is a kind of challenge I do face. Another challenge also is the challenge of though not a major challenge, but challenge of distraction. So distraction is also a challenge. So we have the issue of social media, the issue of people, the issue of people or friends or mates or associates who are not of like minds as you. So they tend to stop some of the plans. They tend to take some of the goals away from you. So these are all these, I count them as distractions. So this is also one of the major challenges which I have always tried over and over to make sure I stay away from.
Okay, so have you overcome some of these challenges, or you are just trying your best to see that you overcome them?
Of course, there are times when challenges overcome one, and there are times when you overcome challenges. So for instance, when challenges come, sometimes there are some that are very easy to overcome, and there are some that takes a long time. But as I've always said, challenges to come from time to time. It depends on how one plans towards solving. So there are sometimes I've been able to achieve some things by making sure I defeat those challenges, and there are sometimes that those challenges they keep on coming and coming and coming. The major thing is not for one not to back down or succumb to those challenges.
Interesting. So Muhammad, do you mind sharing some of your success stories with us?
Okay.
Maybe you will motivate someone.
Okay. Well, I don't really record success. But I always believe that success does not have full stop of commerce. They are only commerce to success and no full stop. So I feel everything we do count as achievement of success. They are only part of a greater success in which one is pursued in life. So if I to talk about those things I at least considered as success, among them was my authoring my first book while I was in secondary school. So this was a success to me, at least as at then. So another thing I'm happy about also is the amount of things I've been able to put together in myself at this period of my life. And another thing also I would like to repeat is the fact that when you're talking about religion or spiritual wise, I've been very forthcoming. So the way I am, I've been able to memorize the whole Quran at least when I was in secondary school. And this was done by myself individually, without going to any place. So this is also one of those things I count as a major success in my life.
Muhammad. Okay, future vision. Muhammad, as a final year student, and I know you have been working so hard, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Okay, the next 5 years. So when you're talking about 5 years, so what aspects are you talking about? So let me say it, I actually view the word broadly. So when you're talking about 5 years, I want to know what aspects of it. You mean probably academically or something else?
As a multi-talented person, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, academically and in your endeavors generally?
Okay, so I talk about academically, I hope to have probably completed my master's in mathematics by then. So that's one of plans for them. And also by then, I hope to have been able to stand alone. So when I'm talking about stand alone, I don't buy the idea of working for people or idea of any salary. So I want to be a service provider and not the one collecting service from others. So this is also one of my plans, because I do have a saying or a belief I do tell people, and that is that the first 25 years of your life is for learning, the second 25 years of your life is for earning, and the last 25 years of your life for learning. So by then, at least I should be 25 or more than that. I expect to have completed the learning part of my life. When I'm talking about academics, and also when I'm talking about my other fields or other aspects I've laid my hand on, I set myself by that time to have been able to be an expert, even if not in all, but in most of it. Also by then, I expect to have completed more than 10 books by God.
Interesting. But you said something that caught my attention actually. You said by then you must have been 25 or more than that. Are you telling me you are not 25 yet?
Of course, I'm not up to 25 yet.
Are you sure?
Of course.
All right. Let's leave it that way. Okay, so how do you stay updated on the latest technology trends?
Okay, so even though wherever I continue to say all my interests, I will take a lot of time. But one of my interests, funny enough, it is actually strange among youth nowadays, that I like listening to news, trends, updates. I like it a lot, especially when I talk about maybe political, historical, technological. So this is one of my interests. So even, for example, though I rarely watch television, but even if I try to watch television, so I only watch probably the news aspect of it. I don't watch the rest. So basically, I have interest in news, and this has always assisted me. So one of those things I do regarding technology is that, for example, every day at least I do receive more than 5 mails on different aspects of tech. Currently, I have aspects of tech. The one where I receive news on data analytics. I have the ones that I receive news on cybersecurity. I have aspects that I receive news on AI, modern AI, and new inventions, and the rest. So I do stay up to date by that. Other ways I do adopt also is by attending conferences, boot camps, programs, forums where tech is being discussed. So this is basically the way.
Interesting. So Muhammad, for tech enthusiasts listening to us right now, what advice do you have for tech entrepreneurs, especially those who are just coming up?
Okay, so I want to say two things. First of all, as you said before, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Secondly, if you wish to achieve something great in life, continue moving. Do not stop. If you are afraid of falling, you will never rise. So for tech enthusiasts, whenever you find out something, try to delve into it. Be inquisitive, be curious, try to always know more. Have that mindset of growth, progress, grit, and determination. These are 4 core values that will always bring in progress in one's life. So when we are talking about tech, the tech landscape is always changing daily, and something that one has to always stay updated with. So always put in your mind the aspect of being consistent, grit, and also determination in whatever you are doing, as this goes a long way. So when we are talking about the next 10, 15 years, most of those modern technologies we call modern now, they might become archaic, especially in most of those advanced countries. So you have to always move further and further than contemporary people.
Thank you so much for that brief advice. Okay, Muhammad, quickly before we move on to the second segment of the podcast, where can listeners find you? Are you on social media?
Okay, yes, I'm actually on social media. So a social media manager can't do that social media. That's always there. Yeah.
Definitely.
So, but I always prefer to meet probably on LinkedIn. Yeah, on LinkedIn.
What's your name on LinkedIn?
Okay, just search for Muhammad Abdullateef to bring it out.
Okay, I will definitely drop that on the description box. Okay, listeners, we're about to dive into the second segment of the podcast. Muhammad and I are going to be discussing on the topic how to balance and master multiple skills. How do you balance your passions, build expertise in more than one area, and keep the momentum going? Stick around as we explore powerful strategies to mastering and balancing multiple skills and make the most out of every skill you're passionate about. Okay, Muhammad, I hope you're ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
Alright, let's start this way. What inspired you to explore multiple skills and how has it impacted your life, or should I say your career?
Okay, first of all, when we talk about interest, uses talent, this is very important for one to be able to multitask or to multi-skill. So you have to always have the interest first for you to be able to delve into something. For example, I personally, there are also some cases or some fields or aspects I don't particularly like, so you don't expect to see there. So most of what I do are those things in which
interesting.
Yes.
Okay, I get that. Okay, how do you allocate time for learning, practicing, and mastering multiple skills?
Okay, so I've said this previously. All this boils down to proper planning and proper management. So as I've said, there's always this out of freedom in your time. It is not possible to be busy 24 hours a day. There are always this time, there are always free. So and when you want to go further in life, you have to do further than other people. So one of those things I do is strategically planning my time. For example, I make use of weekly notes, I make use of notepad on the computer for each and every detail or each and everything I want to achieve for a particular day. I make sure I write it down before starting the day. So this is one of those things I do. Secondly, it's also the importance of accountability and evaluation. So when you make targets, always evaluate yourself. This is also very important in making sure you are able to achieve those things you want to achieve. So these are basically the two things I try to juggle with in order to be able to achieve my activities and plans.
Okay, Muhammad, there are people that they are multi-talented already, but at some point they get to say that, oh, I can't do this again because of maybe conflicting demands and maybe in a situation where they can't even meet deadlines. So for you, how do you handle conflicting demands or deadlines from different pursuits?
Okay, so all these things boil down to power planning and management. That's one. Also, I do automate tasks. So I'm an AI enthusiast. So I do research a lot about AI. What are those things I can use to automate tasks? This is also one of those things I leverage. Also scheduling, proper scheduling and planning also assist. And as I've said before, previously, you don't delve into something you are not interested in. You don't follow people just because people are doing it. So all these later have the back effects of probably conflicting and maybe realizable goals. So when you delve into things you are not interested in, for this, you know you are not very talented. So they all have backward.
Alright, interestingly, you can see that balancing and mastering multiple skills, all in all, it requires proper planning, just as the way you have been saying. Proper planning is key. You need to plan properly.
Exactly.
Okay, yes, I get that. So what learning techniques work best for acquiring new skills quickly?
Okay, first of all, to acquire a new skill, ask yourself, what do you want to use that skill for? Or what's for you, or what gives the inspiration? What's the inspiration behind learning that? So if your answer is not solid enough, then I would advise you not to learn it. Or if you are just learning it just because of people are doing it, or you think probably they use money or something in it, then that's not a solid or a valid answer. So that's first of all. Secondly, ask yourself, do you have the interest in it? So if you think you are not interested in it, try as much as possible to leave it. Then finally, is when you know you are somebody who have been able to juggle a lot of things together. When you think you are not able to add something new, then try as much as possible to leave it. So in as much as I say I multitask, I also put the power planning in place. So there are some times I have to do one or two things, but when I find out they are not as important as some other important things, I try to leave them. So there is this Eisenhower matrix we do use to schedule our plan. So the matrix asks for particular things: the important, the not important, the urgent, and not urgent. So for someone who wants to achieve something, those ones under the important and the urgent aspect are the ones you have to take first. Then the next one are those ones which are important, or the ones which are important but not urgent. So the ones which are urgent but not important, they are the second one. Then the ones which are important and not urgent. Then the ones which are not important and not urgent will come last. Don't misprioritize. When you do this, they come in the long run affecting you, or they give bad consequences in the long run. So when you know you don't have that power plan, or you know you are not in the right position of learning or taking a new skill, try as much as possible to leave it for the later time.
The ones that are not important and not urgent. Interesting. Okay, Muhammad, you have been mentioning scheduling, planning, automation, and all of those stuff. And that leads me to this question. What tools or applications enhance your productivity and organization?
Okay. Let me start with this. So from my devices, let me say for my mobile phone, one of the ones I use majorly, I use the screen time. So it's very important. So what I actually do was just to put it in the home page of my screen. Same thing like an ordinary app where I can see my screen time daily. So this has assisted me in knowing if I've been staying too long on a particular device, or maybe I've been using a particular app more than necessary. Secondly, my calendar also is also on the home page of my screen. I do check it. Do I have something to do now or not? What's the next thing? Thirdly, alarm. In as small or as mundane a detail or a task is, I usually make sure I add it to calendar. So there are some times that you might become overwhelmed and forget to do those small things. Why those small things might later have a greater impact or greater backfire. So in as much as those things are small, I do make use of calendar or alarm. Even just to probably if we take a 10-minute rest, I will add it to the alarm. That's another thing I do. So for the probably maybe other gadgets such as probably the PC, one of those things I do also, I have the screen time also, so which I use to monitor how much I'm using and which are the applications or softwares are taking most of my time. Secondly, I do use the focus mode on the system also, so to test how much am I focused, what's my focus level, to make sure I'm well focused. Thirdly, I make use of calendars a lot of calendars. There are a lot of subjects. You have the Nota, you have Google Calendar. So just to plan properly, and to schedule properly. So all these are very important tools I make of. So and there are a lot of others, but I think these are enough to suffice.
Okay, screen time, calendar, setting alarm. Then you call one focus what?
A focus mode is a kind of feature of Windows which I use to focus. So by that time, nothing like notification, call, alarm, reminders will sound by that time. So by this time, you know, either you are reading a book or you are doing a particular task, you are fully focused.
Yeah, I get it. Muhammad, I know that people must have maybe told you that you are doing too much, or try to even discourage you? You understand? How do you handle a self-doubt or criticism from people about your diverse interests?
Okay, well, actually, I have not really faced that too much, very much. Most people probably, maybe those who are related to me, they are just always, should I say, amazed, or they are just really skeptical about it. So most of them are like, I can't do this thing, I don't know the way to do this, or I can't do that. So from my interactions with a lot of people, while some others who have also probably released the kind of alarm or something on this. So the focus is that for me to start for me to go in this line, I did my research. I came up with a particular model which I call MLHM. So this is one of my posts on it. The meaning is my holistic learning model. My holistic learning model. So how did I come about this? I did the research. I am somebody who like doing a lot of things. So how will I balance it? How will I make sure everything are in order, or it is in a systematic form? So in a way that I will not just be doing things and it will look disorganized. So this was the intensive research I came up with. And while doing this, I came up with what are the advantages of doing this, what are the disadvantages of doing this, and how will I be able to cope with this. So these are the three aspects of the research I did. And after that, I was able to come to the conclusion that of course, this is something I can do.
Okay, Muhammad, any advice? Do you have some resources you would love to recommend to aspiring or upcoming polymath?
Okay, yes, I have. So first of all, as I've said, before entering this particular part, I made my research and I try as much as possible to prove that, of course, this is something that is achievable. So as generally known, or as in the way it is popular inside of most people, it is not good for someone to do a lot of things together, or probably it is even bad to some people, or it is unproductive to do that. So but after doing my research, I found out that, of course, it is not necessarily true what those people said, and you can actually achieve as much as you want to achieve. Although there are some extra advantages for one who try as much as possible to be a multitasker, and there are also some disadvantages. Among the advantages is that you'll be able to do a lot of things on your own. You'll be able to specify into a lot of parts on your own without depending on others, due to those things you've been able to successfully put together. So that's one of it. Another advantage there also is that you will easily fit into any society or any place you find yourself. You can easily fit in due to your diversity. So if we are talking about the disadvantages, so first and the most important of it is something I call the breadth versus the depth problem. The breadth versus the depth problem. So when we are talking, which is one of the major concerns of people who discourage multitasking, and that is that when you learn something and you try to learn other things with it, you will not be able to learn to the stage of an expert. But I have a particular quote which, after making my research, I came up with and I made my watchword, which is that what you can't know everything about something, but you can know something about everything. Yes, you can't know everything about something, but you can know something about everything. So this is actually the watchword which guided this model, this my MHLM, which I developed myself. So because I believe, of course, you can only be an expert, but you can never know everything about it. But if you know something about everything, you will easily fit into any society or any environment you find yourself. So the major issue is just to know how you manage the breadth versus the depth problem. So majorly what I do to mitigate that is, number one, I try to stay up to date. Secondly, I try to take as much courses. For example, if I'm talking about virtual assistance, I took different courses. I took from Alison, ELX, from Udemy, Coursera, a lot of courses just on a particular course. So all this comes in making sure you have more hands-on experience on it. Secondly or thirdly is also laying your hand on something. So when we usually call it dirtying your hand, when you are dirtying your hand on something, which means you are trying to do something practical on it, probably maybe a real life project or an hands-on experience on that thing. So this also goes a long way in making sure you are very good in that field. Another thing also I recommend is attending summits, conferences, forums on different aspects of testing which you know you are specialized in. So this also goes a long way in making sure you mitigate the problem of the breadth versus depth. So I think these are all points one has to note before you can decide to delve into polymath or into multitasking.
I get that. Interesting. Thank you so much for that. Muhammad, lastly, I will love it if you can highlight some common mistakes people make while trying to diversify. Even though from what we've discussed so far, I've been able to pinpoint some things.
Okay, so first of all, the mistake of interest, not delving into something you are not really interested in, is a very great mistake. That's number one. Number two, delving into something without making the appropriate research. Thirdly, having a proper plan. Then fourthly, the issue of accountability and evaluation. Always evaluate yourself, be accountable to yourself. For today, there are some things I already make sure I must achieve before going to bed today. And for this month, there are some things I already planned that I must achieve. By the end of this month, it's time for accountability and evaluation. Which were you able to achieve? Which were you not able to achieve? And lastly, which is also one of the most important points, is not relenting. If you know you are not hardworking or you don't have passion for learning or reading or studying, so you can't delve into this.
Thank you so much, Muhammad. It has been an amazing time with you. Trust me, it has really been an amazing time with you. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you very much also.
All right, listeners, that's all we have for you today. I hope this episode ignites your entrepreneurial fire. I hope you've learned a whole lot from Muhammad Abdullateef. I hope now you start setting smart goals. I hope you now believe that you can actually balance and master multiple skills by following the right steps, going through the right channel, making sure that you plan. You can actually strike a balance and master multiple skills. Rate and review this podcast using the hashtag Campus Hustlers on all social media platforms. If you are yet to subscribe, hit the subscribe button now. Until next week, stay hungry, stay focused, and keep hustling. Bye-bye.
Campus Hustlers with Fatima Zakaria.